I'm gonna go ahead and go to her original picture and erase back here. We're gonna go to the line here of her hair, and we're gonna go ahead and start to fill some of those little curves in. Not there. Let's make a little curve here. There we go. Alright. Let's go ahead and give her a little wrinkle here. Give her some age. There we go. She has sort of this shadow coming off of her neck like that. Let's go ahead and fill that in. I just increased the brush size. I think we're at 4 now. Let's see how that looks. We can always add a hash mark over it. Let's see how it looked before. We'll just keep it like that. How about that? Alright, so we have drawn the line. Now let's look at the color. So let's move her back to opacity of 57. And we'll go to the color. We'll zoom in. And we'll go ahead and do her suit first. Looks pretty easy. It's pretty much one color. So I'm just using a brush with a hardness of 100 right now so that we can just fill in the color. I'm not actually blending yet. I'm just filling her blazer top with a single color. I was erasing off the border. Now I'm going to, let's try. In this case, I don't want to go over the table. So I'm gonna create, let me do this with my mouse instead of the pen, because my pen does not want to cooperate. I'm going to draw sort of an area that I want to be, I'll just go like this. It's okay. I don't want to cover those curls. I'm going to do that area individually in a minute. I first just wanted to fill this. So what I did there was use this paint bucket tool, and I did it in the part, I clicked on the part that was transparent, the part that I wanted to fill, not the part that was filled already. And then I deselected it, and then I've gone back in and filled by hand the paint that, you know, didn't exactly fit. So I'm going to fill her shirt white. I'm going to have the background poking through so that I make sure I completely saturate this color. That way the background shows through here under her arm, but won't show through here on the shirt. So her shirt will be white, not just erased. And the reason I'm using white is because the guys on the other side of the aisle are wearing white shirts, so I figured she'd wear a white shirt. And as far as her necklace goes, we'll just make it all one color. Alright, I'm going to sort of blend the bottom here, but I'm going to look at Don Jr.'s side when I do this. I can kind of see what I did with him. Alright, so now I'm going to hide these margins by picking one up and moving it. Excuse me. And now we can see that they're pretty even. It looks like Don Jr. got slid to the right by 1 pixel, so I'm just going to pick up the group and move it 1 to the left. There we go. I hope that works, or maybe, you know, I'll have them go back to the right. And then I'll just add a little bit more to the border. That way it'll fit really good. So I'm going to create a new library, and this will be Natalia, and we're going to do her skin tone. So I'm going to press I for the eyedropper to get a color. I'm going to click the foreground, add to swatches, OK, add to swatches, add to swatches. She seems to have sort of warm beach tones, like an autumn beach kind of tone there. I want to do her hair before I do her skin, so I'm going to add a couple of swatches for her hair into the same library. Even though this isn't her skin, I'm going to save it with her, and I'll just remember that these are hers for her hair, the top 3. These 3 are her hair and the rest is skin. And we can always combine a little bit of the skin with her hair and her hair with the skin to kind of have them go together. So let's go ahead and paint some hair. we want to make sure that this is checked on. And I'll show you my brush settings so you can just see what we're looking at. Oops, I'm gonna undo all that because I want a hard brush. I mean a soft brush. Here we go. I'm sort of doing the light part of her hair, and then I'll come in and add these other colors too. It looks like this part here I'll probably want to delete some of the, actually instead of delete we're going to just have to paint over some of the original down there. So let's go take a look. We're doing this so that we can blend the hair with, we can blend sort of the color of the hair with the line work of the hair and still have it be separated from the jacket that she's wearing. And we didn't want the original showing. I need to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to get this color of her jacket by pressing I and then the letter B. And we're just going to paint around some of these little wild strands of hair. And now instead of it looking like one line, you can clearly tell those are different hairs. Now that we've put some sort of light colors in her hair, we're going to now put the second darkest color in her hair. We're going to check our brush settings. Good, it's still a soft brush. Alright, now we're going to pull the dark color. This one here is sort of our darkest color. And we're just going to touch and go. We're not going to do too much here because I'm going to be doing sort of a burn in a minute. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm just adding a little bit of that brown. Alright, so I'm going to go here from normal to color burn. I'm going to change the opacity to like 30. And I'm going to lightly just come in. Oh, maybe 30 is too high. Let's go to about 20. I'm going to come down and just add a few colors of hair. I'm going to just burn that in there. And then we're going to grab this color that we were using, this one here, and we're going to go to color dodge. We're going to keep it at 20, and we're going to put a little extra highlight in here. Let's make it a little bit higher because I can barely see it. So this is sort of the dodge. I didn't like that, made it look too red. When that happens, you can always change this color here to white and it should come out fine. We'll probably do some of that too. I'll show you. Alright, so we can come here and switch this to white. And we can get this nice little technique. Maybe not up there, we don't want to do it everywhere, just in a few spots. My computer was lagging. I'm gonna go back, I don't like that. I was like, why is it not showing up? Alright, I'm gonna bring this down to 30. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go to libraries, let's pick some of our skin color, and we're gonna go to color. And it's at 30%, which is good. And we're just gonna lightly, randomly pick areas. And this just kind of changes some of those colors that we put down. Just a little bit. Alright. Now let's do our face. I just picked a spot and I'm gonna start coloring. I'm sometimes making my brush a little bigger, a little smaller. Let's add a little highlight color here and here. I like to put sort of the brightest colors above the eyebrows. And we'll put a little darker color above that so it really kind of pronounces what we did. I'm going to put this on normal and we're going to change this to 100 so we can really see it. And let's do a softer color here. And we'll do sort of a pink here. And we're going to increase sort of this orange tone for our cheeks. I'm going to the smudge tool. We're going to blend that in. We're going to come down here and add some of the grayish tones into the area around her mouth and under these areas of her cheeks. We'll be blending it, it's just to kind of give it a little texture. I was just grabbing a color with the color picker. She has very smooth, pretty skin. press D and turn the opacity up. And now we're going to put in some of that shadow. That's going to overlay like this. I'm going to let that really overlay over the top of her necklace so it looks like it's fading in the background into the foreground. Alright. What we're going to do above her eyes and cover these bumps that she has on her eyes. And let's come and take a look at those eyes. We press D, X, B. Brushes, we're going to go to 3 cartoon and we're going to make it smaller. 1 pixel smaller, so it's 2. These are brush settings. Okay, it looks like I haven't drawn her lines on her eyes yet, so I'm going to go and do that now. Lines. Go here. I wanted to have this checked, so I just kind of went back. Here we go. I'm going to add a little bit of this brown that's in her eyes. We're going to color her eyes with it. And now we can add this white. And since she's facing a different way, we're going to add a little third light here. Maybe just that. We don't want to overdo it. Alright, so just contending with the color, we're going to go ahead and do her nose. I'm going to use something close to the color I just picked. Something like this. It's a little darker. But I want to use this instead. I'm just kind of doing a little zigzag. Let's add a little bit of this color at the base of her nose, but not the top, just to show that her nose is a little different towards the bottom than the top, and giving it a little dimension here. We're adding a little shadow coming out of her nose. Remember I said that we were going to do that? My tabletop little tablet did that, but I didn't mean to. Sometimes it just makes these straight lines. I don't know why. So here I'm adding sort of a light brown shadow that overlays the existing line work. This is not what we were doing when we did, whose head was it? Well, you can see all their lines of their heads are all different. They all look different. And hers is different too. They're all different. This kind of just shows you the kind of range that you can do when you're dealing with hairlines. I mean, none of these hairlines look even remotely the same. And yet they all are stylized the same, you know, like they're different and yet they have sort of a common tone among them. I'm just making this a bigger brush. We're giving her a little shadow around her face. Just a little bit. We're gonna make a little light up in here. Not necessarily a highlight, but just a little light under her chin. I'm going under that with a similar lightness. And I'm going to pick a different color. We're going to go over that with a similar. There we go. It's almost imperceptible, right? But what it does, it faded from this to that. And we can add a little of this and just kind of soften it. We can go and press this little mixer smudge tool to kind of make that look real smooth. We're gonna do her chin. Oops, let's do it in sort of this color. We're gonna blend that. And let's take a look and see where we're at so far. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of hash and highlight on her face and on her suit, and we're going to add a little bit of a line here to her suit as well. And she's almost done. Okay, so B, D, brushes, 3 layers, line, and we'll finish that line here. And then I want to make sure that we get this color right, so we're going to go to brushes, 9 layers. I just covered one of her zits, I think, or some kind of red mark. I don't know what that was. Alright, now let's do this part. I actually want to get the highlight. There we go. Go to this new layer. We still want to do her lips too. Maybe just that. Adding some color on her lips. I kind of like it like color. And then get a little shadow. I'll blend it in. I'm doing this since I had a hard brush instead of a soft one. And I'm going to get just another hair darker. Just go here. And then I'm going to burn it with maybe 20 or 30, 35. That's too much. Let's go down to about 24. Yeah. So we'll go back to our highlight, D, X, B, brushes, highlight, layers, highlight. And then we're going to erase a little of that highlight just on the edge there. And what I'm trying to do, and I'm smudging now, what I'm trying to do is just create a little bit of makeup on her face, because I'm sure she probably put a little highlight there. She seems like the kind who would. Let's see. I'm going to erase the bottom of that, and we'll continue sort of. Let's see if we can get a good curve. We want it to go all the way around her forehead, sort of, but we don't want it to go above the forehead. We can do that, and then erase part of it, and part of it, and keep erasing towards the top until it kind of just tapers, like that. I'm going to do another one on her nose. Let's just see how it looks. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about this black highlight on her nose, so I'm going to just go into the line and erase part of it or most of it. Or I can redraw it. I'm going to just go in and see if I can redraw it. Let's get 3 cartoon. I mean, I could do this. I need to turn that on. Alright, let's see how that looks. I think I like that a little better. It kind of matches the other ones. Alright, let's add a few highlights on her jacket. And actually, I want to add a little bit of color here. Alright. Go to layers, highlight, EX, bringing that white color forward. I'm only doing this to match the other side. And it also kind of adds to the quirky cartoon element after doing such realistic sort of portraitures. These keep it whimsical. Now let's go and add some hash marks. Let's see, that should be black. So we can do that. We can add some here, some here. Alright. Probably not going to add too many more. Just wanted to add a few. Alright. So I'm going to save. And then we're going to show the translator, who's also finished. And let's also show this guy. So as you can see, her hair is coming off here. However, there's a little bit of this background showing through. So we're going to go to the translator and we're going to just fill that in. With black. There we go. No, it doesn't look so funny. So we have two more people, and then we have a table, and then we have sort of the background. And then maybe we'll add words. I don't know what we're gonna do yet. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a snapshot. Okay, now I'm gonna save it. So let's look at the before and after of Natalia. We kind of opened her eyes some more. Let me move this so we can see more. We really opened her eyes. We've increased sort of the crease on her face. We've lightened her hair a bit. We've changed her clothes a little bit. It's different, you know? Now I can go over here. We're gonna hide the guy in the back. Alright, brushes, cartoon layers. We want to make sure it's on D, and we want to turn this on. So I'm going to turn off the background, and we're going to make this original a little bit lower so we can, maybe not that low, because I can hardly see his hair. It's probably like that. I'm going to zoom in even closer because I want to get a good view of his head. I want to make sure that when I'm doing the line work, I really get it, get his face. You know, this translator is gonna end up messing with his face, so I'm gonna go back to the translator. I'm just gonna see, just for a second, how it looks if I add a white stroke around it. I may not even use it, I'm just curious. Let's take a look. I'll turn everything back on in just a minute. I just want to see what I'm dealing with. That should do it. If we have this image outlined, that will work. Alright, cool. So we're going to hide this, and we're going to hide the background, and we're going to come back to this original, turn it down a bit, and we're going to finish this. I don't really need to worry about erasing what's over here because we have an opaque image here, so it's really not going to matter. So it looks like his hair kind of goes, maybe. Let's turn it up. Alright, his hair is wild. Ooh, okay. This part makes sense. Let's do this part first. And then it starts to get curly. I'm sort of hiding the hairline with these curls. I have no idea are actually there, but we're gonna give them curls. I haven't even finished his line work and already I'm coloring. I just wanted to do it. But it's gonna look funny unless I get that soft brush. So we're gonna go and we're gonna turn that hardness down to 0 instead of 100. And that way we can get it ready for blending. Now let's pick up this color, make a bigger brush, and we're going to blend on top of what we just put down. We're going to pull some of those strands forward. And then we're going to add sort of a darker color by coming in here and just doing that 1/4 inch rule I was telling you about. Alright, now I'm going to come and use the burn tool. We're going to bring it down. I like it usually between 20 and 50. We're going to just burn a little bit of some darker hairs in here. It might be too dark. Yeah, I'm going to undo that and turn this down just a hair. We'll go to 17. Oh, that's too low. Let's go higher. 22. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Now we're creating a nice little shadow here, close to his hairline. And I'm doing it zigzag, up and down, up and down. Although there it kind of looks like dots, so I'm not going to do that. I'll go in with a non-burn there. I'll just use normal. I'll go back in there and touch that up a bit. Alright, let's go to normal and we'll get maybe a color that's close to his skin, but just a little off. Let's turn this opacity higher. Slowly blending it in. And we're just going over some areas that we've colored, just adding another shade in here. This just adds a little dimension to his hair. And then we can add some black. Black is really great because you can just add all these different shadows and create groups of hair. Like his hair is very curly, it's not so straight. And so we can fill in some of the areas as if those were curly groupings. Alright. We can always add some highlight in his hair later. Let's go do some line work here. I want a full line, I don't want it faded on the edges. Not for glasses. For glasses, we want these to be really seen, because, you know, when you can see them on the face, I think they look really cool. I don't really like to hide glasses. I think they look nice when they're seen. So these glasses, I have not made them even. Let's see. They don't have to look perfect. Let's do that. So for his eyes, we're gonna go to 2 pixels, and we want to turn on that faded airbrush. So this is sort of a wider nose. It's a little bit wider than the rest of the nose we've drawn. We're going to print out some of these little lines. Kind of like these pursed lips. Let's make that wider like that. You can barely see his lips. Let's go to 3 instead of 2. So here we kind of have the jawline, which tends to go up and across. You know, it's got sort of 2 major intersecting lines. And it has a faded area, and here we're going to just add some shadow. Here, and here, and here. And then we're going to blend it with the smudge tool. So kind of, it's preparing for the overlay of color that's coming. This is oops, my tablet did that. Alright, let's do his neck and his shirt. We're going to put him in a suit. I guess he's in a suit, isn't he? Let's do... Oh, that's kind of soft. Let's turn that airbrush tool off. We're going to go to opacity of 100. So the reason why those white lines are coming on is because I'm recording at the same time I'm using Photoshop. It's using a lot of RAM. That's why. I'm going to turn that little tool back on just to get that softened. And I'm going to turn this back off. We're not going to draw his hand there. We're going to put a tie there instead. So we're going to draw a suit. Let's make this one a little bigger. It was kind of wobbly, so let's come back down and do that. And come in and erase part of that line. And it just keeps it fresh. Let's make his tie this color. And I want to turn on the background just so that make sure we get all of it colored. Just pressed X to bring white into the foreground. It's a very handy shortcut to have. I'm going to erase a little of this line mark so it comes off a little bit. And I'm going to touch up this with a little blue. We're going to go back to white. I'm going to move this with the hand tool. I'll have to delete some of those lines. I'm going to erase these lines. This part here where the translator sort of meets his suit here. Look at this. I kind of want to maybe put a little bit of shadow on that. I'm going to have this line matching this line over here first. And then I'll erase the color here. I'll have to delete it from the original as well. So I've actually adjusted his shoulders. I've made his shoulders come down a little bit. And before I create the shadow I was telling you about, I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring the shirt and the suit. Otherwise, I'll just be guessing what's showing, because if, you know, this white area, if I add a little bit of gray on top of it as a shadow, I'm going to want to see it as it happens, but if it stays a different color than it's going to be, sometimes it's difficult to tell what the final result is going to look like. So I'm doing it this way. I hope this is easy to follow along.